मुझे आप बताओ कि फ्रीलांसिंग होता क्या है एंड फ्रीलांसिंग में कितना पैसा कमा सकता है कोई इंसान?
फ्रीलांसिंग बेसिकली आप खुद के लिए काम कर रहे हो, दैट इज फ्रीलांसिंग। तो आपकी जो पैशन है, लिटरली आप अपने पैशन को परस्यू कर सकते हो। अर्निंग पोटेंशियल जो है वो एक्चुअली लिमिटलेस है।
सेल्स होता क्या है?
आपके पास कुछ वैल्यूएबल है ऑफर करने के लिए, जिससे आप बात कर रहे हो, क्या उनको उसकी ज़रूरत है, और अगर है तो आप उनके साथ शेयर कर रहे हो कि आप उनके लिए क्या कर सकते हो, और आप डिसीजन उनके पास छोड़ रहे हो। दैट इज सेल्स।
So many freelancers here, they don't know how to approach a customer or how should they start working so they get incoming leads. Should you go to the people and say that, hey, you know, I do this.
Yeah.
Do you want this? So what is your thought process about it? Welcome back to the Last Laugh podcast. आज हमने एक स्पेशल गेस्ट को इनवाइट किया है, श्रेया, जो एक लिंक्डइन एक्सपर्ट और सेल्स ट्रेनिंग में बहुत सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज को अपना नॉलेज और एक्सपर्टीज शेयर कर चुकी है। 3 बार टेडेक्स और 100 से ज्यादा बार पॉडकास्ट पे वो अपीयर हो चुकी है। श्रेया एक बहुत ही सॉलिड मिशन पे है, जो फ्रीलांसर्स को एजुकेट और उनको फ्रीडम दिलाने में विश्वास रखती है। श्रेया हैज ब्रोकन द रिकॉर्ड्स ऑफ बीइंग द फास्टेस्ट growing profile on social media platforms like LinkedIn and Instagram. But the success is not overnight. She has been working from last 5 years. At a young age, she has been working with top clients by facilitating them with the LinkedIn and social media services. She's a successful entrepreneur who is running her own agency, and I'm very sure आपको ये podcast पे उनसे बहुत ही ज़्यादा knowledgeable, valuable content मिलेगा. Subscribe me right now so that I can call such amazing guests from the business world so that you learn every single day. Enjoy the show. First of all, thank you so much to be on The Last Laugh. You know, I am very sure that people who are going to view this podcast is going to be super value add, not only for the freelancers, but it's for entrepreneurs, it's for everybody who is watching you and getting inspired by you, because you have achieved a lot and obviously there are, you know, road ahead that you have to achieve. But I want to know from, you know, your childhood, like how did you train yourself to be what you are right now, and how has been the journey of freelancing?
Okay, thanks for having me, first of all, Yash. So I think the journey of freelancing basically started from my interest in writing. So I've been writing since I was really young, although just for myself, just in my journals. Had a lot of interest in putting pen to paper and kind of writing stories, creating that sort of narration around things. And I think over time that has just translated into writing for others and doing the same thing or similar thing, but for the online space and of course for clients and someone else's story. So once I decided that yes, I definitely want writing to be my career, I still didn't know what that would mean. I didn't want to be an author. I definitely didn't want to write fiction. And for me, for the longest time, being a writer or studying literature would mean being an author. So for the longest time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So of course, people think that she knew when she was really young what exactly her life would turn out like. Not true at all. The only thing I was sure of is that I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be my own boss, and I always wanted to have a team. Like that was a very clear vision since I was really young. That was more of a vision of walking around in an office in a suit, but of course things have changed now. It's mostly from your laptop. But that was my vision. That was the only thing I had in mind. Again, no idea what that would turn into, how that would happen. And then I moved to Dublin for my education. So I studied literature and philosophy there. And while I was in university, I had a lot of different opportunities, because of which I started writing on LinkedIn. Within the first month of moving there, I met the CEO of LinkedIn and I wrote a post about meeting him. My first post on LinkedIn, it went viral. And because of that, so many people messaged me saying, Shreya, you write so well. Can you just do the same thing for us? And again, like first year student, never really worked with clients as a freelancer before, had a couple of years of internship experience, didn't know what freelancing is, didn't really know what I was doing. LinkedIn personal branding wasn't even a thing. Nobody was teaching it. Nobody was even really teaching freelancing. So kind of just figured everything out, trial and error, found out that there are a lot of things wrong with the whole industry, freelancing as a whole. Decided that I wouldn't want to be a part of that, made a lot of changes. And over time, because of, you know, kind of setting my own rules and standards, I also went into the education space. So while my freelancing career was doing better, and then over time it changed into an agency, at the same time, parallelly, I started teaching how I was doing what I was doing, which was very helpful, especially for Indian freelancers, young freelancers who want to get started. Moved on to Instagram as well, where I teach now. And that's pretty much how this whole thing turned out.
Wow. So I want to know from, as I said, right, let's talk about your parenting, right? Because getting that exposure is very important for, and as you said, right, Indian audience is very different because when they make their choices, it's because of their parents and their peers, right? So my question to you would be how important parenting is, because during the early childhood, because getting that exposure, right, getting that freedom of mind, like, I want to be the boss of myself. In India, there are parents who are still forcing their kiddos to go to basically get a degree and get a job, high paid job. So tell me about your parents, tell me about your education background, tell me about like how did you like pass your schooling and went to Dublin, as you said, right? So I want to know that story too.
So I think when you think about like Indian parents overall, just to start with, you have to understand where this notion entirely comes from. And it comes from basically fear of security, because they don't know what freelancing is. They don't know what online businesses are, or generally what starting your own business involves. They just want you to be financially secure. They want you to have a decent life where you're not worried about your everyday stuff. That's kind of that's the place they're usually coming from. So I think what they really need in some sense is proof. And one way to give them proof is to start small things, show that you're serious about it, make some money, build a different life for yourself, commit to something, make different choices every single day, like the kind of people you hang around with, the kind of activities you invest your time and energy and money into. All of that, when they see your different mindset, your approach towards life, when they see your commitment, then it kind of helps them be a bit on your side. Like, okay, I can see that you're interested, and I would at least like to give you a chance. For me, my parents had their own businesses, multiple starting on and off. Some things worked, most things didn't work. And because of that, I think I just grew up around people who were just doing stuff all the time, right? They were busy. They were going to this location, checking out this building, this office, this person, this meeting. And because of that, I was just seeing how different their life is compared to a lot of people. And the most vivid memory for me is that my parents were always there for all of my school events. Amazing. Whenever I was speaking or anything, because I was very involved, all sports activities, anchoring for different, assemblies or events that we had in school, since I was really young. And my parents could do that because they could pull out time, because it's their business and they can make time. And then, of course, they have to, compensate for that in some other ways. Yes, but they could be there for me. And I think that was very important to me, because I was seeing how many of my friends, their parents couldn't show up because they were busy. So I think all those freedom I've seen that. I've also seen, like, whenever we go on road trips, my dad will stop the car and he's yelling at someone. Like, I've seen all of that. I've seen his pressures. I've seen his stress. I've seen how he's dealt with these things. So because of that, they were very open to, just, okay, do what you want. And I actually wanted to be a doctor first. And that was in my mind. So I prepared for the entrance exams and I gave the entrance exams for medical. But before I gave the exam, I told my parents, I don't want to do this. I want to write. And it's very funny to me because my dad said, I was wondering why you're doing medicine, because, you should be writing. And I'm like, couldn't you tell me that 2 years ago? You've seen me in like tears for 2 years because this is not my thing. And he's like, no, you have to figure this out on your own. So it's not like they wanted me to have a certain life. It's like, try, figure it out yourself, whatever happens, whatever doesn't happen. And I think the most important thing that comes from having someone who started their own business, it could be your friends or family, whoever, is that they understand that these things take time.
True.
So they are never in a rush that, you've reached this age, you should be making this much, or you should have this stability, whatever.
Nice.
Time. So I think that was like my most vivid childhood experiences, and they've really helped me a lot.
This is really important, and I tell you, like, you talked about three things. One is experimenting, second is risk taking, and third is obviously like having that patience and giving time, right? If parents, I mean, I'm very sure in today's generation, our generation, parents are really educated and they really know like what exactly, they're actually getting the awareness in India that, you know, my kid can do this, my kid can be a cricketer, maybe a writer, maybe a, you know, vocalist or something like that. They're also experimenting. And I remember one of my relative, right, just came to me for, you know, his, like, she's my sister, right? But she's very young. So she was she was very clear that, hey, I want to go in music. And she came to me and saying that, you know, my parent is actually allowing me for music, but I'm confused that will I make money in music or not? This is a discussion which I'm having with a 4-year-old kid. Okay. So, I mean, I was really happy for a fact that, you know, the generation and things are changing, but there are still, you know, 60% of India population who is actually CA ka beta CA banega, doctor ka beta doctor banega, still going on, right? And parents, it's very important that, you know, if you have taken risk in life, you allow your kids to take a risk and give them time to experiment, to fail, and to bounce back. So, I mean, really proud of your parents, and, you know, they have given you this insightful vision already that it's okay to fail and, you know, come back stronger. So thanks for that thing. Okay, moving next. So मुझे आप बताओ कि freelancing होता क्या है पहले तो, और freelancing का करियर क्यों लोगों को अब बेटर लग रहा है अपार्ट फ्रॉम जॉब, एंड फ्रीलांसिंग में कितना पैसा कमा सकता है कोई इंसान?
तो फ्रीलांसिंग बेसिकली आप खुद के लिए काम कर रहे हो, दैट इज़ फ्रीलांसिंग. तो आप खुद के बॉस बोलो, ऐसा भी कह सकते हैं. एंड एसेंशली क्यों लोग प्रेफर कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि इसमें आपको बहुत फ्रीडम मिलती है कि आप किसके साथ काम कर रहे हो. आप अपने स्किल सेट के हिसाब से काम कर सकते हो. तो आपकी जो पैशन है, लिटरली आप अपने पैशन को परस्यू कर सकते हो. शायद आपको पता चले कि आपका जो पैशन है वो नहीं, उससे उतने पैसे नहीं बन रहे हैं, लेकिन आप कुछ और भी फिगर आउट कर सकते हो, क्योंकि इसके लिए आपको डिग्री नहीं चाहिए, इसके लिए आपको कोई नंबर ऑफ ईयर्स ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस नहीं चाहिए. जब ये सब नहीं चाहिए होता है तब ये बहुत क्या मतलब चेंजेबल हो जाता है कि आप कभी भी इसमें पिवट कर सकते हो, जो हम कहते हैं स्टार्टअप्स में. कभी भी आप कोई स्किल ऐड कर सकते हो, कभी भी आप किसी को हायर कर सकते हो. तो इसमें बहुत पोटेंशियल है, एंड अर्निंग पोटेंशियल जो है वो एक्चुअली लिमिटलेस है. क्योंकि ये कोई जॉब नहीं है जहाँ पे फिक्स सैलरी है. ये कोई जॉब नहीं है जिसमें आपकी सैलरी की इतनी ही इंक्रीमेंट होगी हर साल या हर 2 साल, कि आप जॉब चेंज करोगे तो आपको इतना प्लस मिलेगा. ऐसा नहीं है. आई थिंक ये पॉजिटिव भी है और नेगेटिव भी है. क्योंकि ऑफ कोर्स आपकी सैलरी मतलब आपकी इनकम फिक्स नहीं है. और जब आप फ्रीलांसिंग के बारे में सोचते हो, स्पेशली अगर आप किसी और के साथ भी काम कर रहे हो, तो आपकी मतलब वो एक बिजनेस के जैसे है. तो आपके सैलरीज हो जाते हैं, आपके अलग एक्सपेंसेस हो जाते हैं, जो काफी लोग कंसिडर नहीं करते हैं. तो लोग सोचते हैं कि किसी का पॉडकास्ट पे देख लिया कि अच्छा उन्होंने 10 लाख बना लिया, लेकिन 10 लाख में कितने लोग थे उनके टीम में, कितने सॉफ्टवेयर यूज कर रहे हैं. बिजनेस चलाने के लिए भी जो भी सेटअप कॉस्ट होता है वो कोई कंसिडर नहीं करता. बट ओवरऑल अगर आप फ्रीलांसिंग खुद से कर रहे हो तो स्टार्ट करना बहुत ईजी है. लिटरली एक लैपटॉप, एक स्किल सेट जो आपको पता हो, और इंटरनेट कनेक्शन. बाकी सब फ्री है. फ्री पॉडकास्ट, फ्री कोर्सेज, फ्री वीडियोस. काफ़ी लोग फ्री मेंटरिंग भी करते हैं अगर आप उनको ढूंढ सकते हैं तो. और पेड चीज़ें ऑप्शंस भी है टू लर्न. लेकिन ओवरऑल आप अपनी कॉलेज की डिग्री को कंपेयर करोगे इससे, और आप अपने कोई स्टैंडर्ड बिजनेस सेटअप कॉस्ट को कंपेयर करोगे फ्रीलांसिंग से, तो ये ऑलमोस्ट कुछ नहीं है इसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट. तो दैट इज़ व्हाई इट इज़ अपीलिंग. एंड आई थिंक फ्रीलांसिंग ऐसी चीज़ है जो कोई भी कर सकता है बेस्ड ऑन उनका क्या इंटरेस्ट है.
आई वाज रीडिंग अ स्टैटिस्टिक्स के अब इन नेक्स्ट 3 years फ्रीलांसर्स ज़्यादा रहेंगे देन एम्प्लॉइज, एंड दैट्स वेरी वियर्ड बिकॉज इंडिया में तो ये कब तक चलेगा मुझे नहीं पता, बट freelancing actually, but I have seen many people, right, when I'm going to colleges also now, people are not choosing, you know, मेरे को यहाँ जॉब करना है, मुझे वहाँ जॉब करना है, मुझे या तो कंटेंट क्रिएटर बनना है या तो मुझे एक फ्रीलांसर बनना है. I want to help somebody, maybe in video editing, maybe in content writing, maybe something into strategy, consultancy. So freelancing is a good career option nowadays, but the point here is कि अभी ऑप्शन है, पहले क्यों नहीं था? What would be the major reasons? Any idea?
पहले भी था. फ्रीलांसिंग हमेशा से रहा, ऐसा नहीं है. पहले आपके कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स कहते थे हम. आई थिंक वो डिफरेंस है. अभी इंटरनेट इज मोर वाइड स्प्रेड. अभी मेरे जैसे लोग हैं जो कंटेंट बना रहे हैं, जो कह रहे हैं कि ये फ्रीलांसिंग है, आई थिंक किसी भी चीज़ को एक ट्रेंड बनने के लिए या किसी भी चीज़ को लोगों को समझने के लिए कि ये भी उनके लिए एक ऑप्शन है, उसका फेमस होना ज़रूरी है.
Okay.
और फ्रीलांसिंग जब मैंने शुरू किया था तब मैं देख रही थी कि स्पेशली अमेरिकन ऑडियंस ऑलरेडी वो लोग बहुत बात कर रहे हैं अबाउट फ्रीलांसिंग, बट इंडिया में कोई सिखा नहीं रहा था. सब कह रहे हैं कि हाँ मैं फ्रीलांसिंग करती हूँ, इतना पैसे कमाती हूँ, जितना भी, बट नोबडी इज टीचिंग. कोई कह नहीं रहा है कि आप कैसे कर सकते हो और आप कैसे थोड़ा मेंटल पीस के साथ कर सकते हो, क्योंकि ऑफ कोर्स इंडियन फ्रीलांसिंग स्पेस में बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स है, स्पेशली कि आपको पेमेंट मिलती नहीं है. या फिर कि आपको कोई पे करना नहीं चाहता. तो मैंने जब फ्रीलांसिंग स्टार्ट किया था तब सबसे पॉपुलर चीज़ था गेटिंग पेड पर वर्ड. तो तभी सब, और वो भी कितना, 50 पैसे 20 पैसे पर वर्ड. तो अगर आप एक आर्टिकल लिख रहे हो 1000 वर्ड का तो आप 200 रुपये चार्ज कर पा रहे हो. लेकिन मैं तब से ही मेरा कुछ अलग ही चल रहा था और मैं मतलब मेरे क्लाइंट का जो पेमेंट रेंज था वो $100 से $200 के बीच में था फॉर एन आर्टिकल. तो वो हो जाता है तभी शायद अराउंड 6000 से 10,000 रुपए के बीच में. तो काफ़ी लोग ये भी कहने लगे कि श्रेया ये कैसे हो रहा है, क्योंकि हमारे पास इतना एक्सपीरियंस है, हम 10 साल से हमने जर्नलिज्म की डिग्री की है, ये किया है वो किया है, हम 10 साल से लेकर हम अभी भी 1 रुपी पर वर्ड भी चार्ज नहीं कर पा रहे. अभी 5 साल बाद मैं नहीं देख रही हूँ कोई भी बात नहीं कर रहा है अबाउट चार्जिंग पर वर्ड. एंड आई थिंक आई डू वांट टू से कि मेरा बहुत कंटेंट था उसके बारे में कि ये सब नहीं करना चाहिए. यू हैव टू चार्ज बाय द प्रोजेक्ट, बाय द वैल्यू, नॉट बाय द वर्ड. एंड नाउ थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग. सो जो भी चीज़ के बारे में कोई बात करना शुरू करेगा तभी वो इम्पैक्ट आएगा. That is the thing.
So amazing take. So one reason is definitely कि अवेयरनेस बढ़ रही है फ्रीलांसिंग के लिए, और दूसरी सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ है आई थिंक फ्रीलांसर्स आर पेड वेल नाउ. लाइक अकॉर्डिंग टू यू पहले नहीं पे करते थे इतना, बट नाउ बिकॉज ऑफ द अवेयरनेस विच हैज कम इन, एंड आई वुड से इन मार्केटिंग टर्म्स और ब्रांडिंग टर्म, ब्रांड पोजिशनिंग ऑफ फ्रीलांसर्स हैज चेंज्ड. एंड अब फ्रीलांसर्स के पास अच्छी स्किल होती है. Maybe, you know, if you are good at something really good, right, you are paid well. That's the whole objective of freelancing, right? If you are good in something like one skill, you can make money. Is that something which I am like making sense?
Sense, yes. I don't want to say I'm not making sense, but I will say कि ये actually सच नहीं है, क्योंकि मैंने मैं हायर करती हूँ मेरी एजेंसी के लिए. कितने सारे लोग हैं जो बहुत अच्छे राइटर्स हैं, बहुत अच्छे ग्राफिक डिज़ाइनर्स हैं, लेकिन उनकी कम्युनिकेशन बहुत पुअर है. तो मुझे पता है कि मैं उनको क्लाइंट के सामने मैं बुला ही नहीं सकती, वो कॉल्स पे नहीं रह सकते हैं, वो क्लाइंट के साथ कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर सकते हैं, तो मैं उनको हायर नहीं कर सकती. काफ़ी लोग पंक्चुअल नहीं है, तो अच्छा काम करते हैं लेकिन टाइम से डिलीवर नहीं करते, अपने टाइम के हिसाब से काम करते हैं. आप अपने बॉस हो, यस, लेकिन ये मेरा बिजनेस है, तो आप फ्री में काम नहीं कर रहे हो, तो आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. ऑफ कोर्स है, मेरी भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है मेरे क्लाइंट्स की तरफ. तो पंक्चुअलिटी बिल्कुल नहीं है. और ये मैं अभी देख रही हूँ कि काफ़ी जेनजी प्रॉब्लम है ये, कि बिल्कुल क्या बोलते हैं, वर्क एथिक्स थोड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क में ही चल रहा है अभी. थर्ड थिंग इज़ ओवरऑल कोई गेम प्लान नहीं है, लॉन्गिविटी नहीं है. बेसिकली काफ़ी छोटी छोटी बातों पे वो गुस्सा हो जाते हैं, कंप्लेन करने लग जाते हैं, सब उनके हिसाब से ही होना चाहिए. सैलरी इंक्रीज, एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत जल्दी हो जाती है. तो ये सब मतलब जब कोई लॉन्ग टर्म विजन नहीं है तब किसी के साथ काम करना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है. तो आपकी कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स, आपकी पंक्चुअलिटी, आप कितना इम्प्रूव कर रहे हो मंथ ऑन मंथ अपने स्किल को. स्पेशली अगर आप वीडियो एडिटिंग, ग्राफिक डिज़ाइनिंग देख रहे हो तो हमेशा ट्रेंड्स चेंज होते रहते हैं. अभी जब हम रील्स भी बना रहे हैं तो रील्स ऑलमोस्ट हर तीसरे महीने जो पॉपुलर फॉर्मेट है वो चेंज होता है. तो क्या अगर आप वीडियो एडिटर हो तो क्या आप वो समझ रहे हो, क्या आप वो पैटर्न को नोटिस करके क्या आप चेंज कर रहे हो अपनी एडिटिंग स्टाइल. और ओवरऑल सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि आप अपने क्लाइंट को कितना रिलैक्स्ड फील करवाते हो. ओवरऑल कितना रिलैक्स्ड एक्सपीरियंस होता है उनका, कि आप उनको परेशान नहीं कर रहे हो, आप बार बार जैसे कि नेगोशिएट नहीं कर रहे हो, बार बार आप फीडबैक अच्छे से समझ के फिर काम दे रहे हो. तो ये सारी चीज़ें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो काफ़ी लोग बहुत अच्छे होते हैं उनकी स्किल में, लेकिन ये सब चीज़ें अगर नहीं होती है तो यू आर हैप्पियर वर्किंग विद समवन हु इज़ एवरेज, बिकॉज दे कैन इम्प्रूव दिस. It's easier to improve the skill than to improve basically all these other aspects together.
Well said. I mean, business ethics, right? And ownership and responsibility, which you're talking in real sense. So, I mean, well said. If anybody who has a skill and if anybody who has the ownership to learn the skill and also deliver on maybe they are punctual on deadlines, and they're able to relax the customer. That's something which I learned today. You can actually make money. So okay, great, amazing. So now when you're talking about this, right, एक सबसे important skill होती है वो है sales, right? And as a founder now to the agency, but let's say before, when you were working as a freelancer, sales as a career is a very lucrative career also, but very neglected career also, right? So why people are not focusing on their sales pitch? Because you just said that communication आती नहीं है करने, clients के साथ कैसे बात करनी है, but उनके पास skill है और वो इसके लिए पैसा नहीं कमा पा रहे because they are not the package, right? So let's show your audience today, because I am very sure you have been telling them about freelancing on your Instagram and on other platforms. Let's talk about sales today. Let's go deep dive into कि sales कैसे होती है, आपने अपना पहला client कैसे close किया था, और sales में pros and cons. So let's start with that. Very simple question. Sales होता क्या है?
तो सेल्स अगर आप अपने पूरे सेलिंग और पुशीनेस वो सब को छोड़ दोगे, तो सेल्स एसेंशियली ये है कि आपके पास कुछ वैल्यूएबल है ऑफर करने के लिए. आप पहले फिगर आउट कर रहे हो कि क्या आप जिससे आप बात कर रहे हो क्या उनको उसकी ज़रूरत है, और अगर है तो आप उनके साथ शेयर कर रहे हो कि आप उनके लिए क्या कर सकते हो, और आप डिसीजन उनके पास छोड़ रहे हो. दैट इज़ सेल्स एसेंशियली. आई थिंक कंसिडरिंग अभी कैसे लोग सेल्स सिखाते हैं एंड कैसे, ऑफ कोर्स सेल्स हैज़ टू बी वेरी फास्ट पेस्ड, बट आई हैव लर्नड दैट सेल्स इज़ एक्चुअली अ वेरी लॉन्ग प्रोसेस. आप नहीं कह सकते हो कि एक कॉल की वजह से आपकी सेल्स क्लोज हो रही है. यूजुअली नहीं होता है. एज इन हाउ यू ग्रो, यू स्केल, द मोर यू चार्ज, आपकी सेल्स प्रोसेस लंबी होने वाली है. तो यू हैव टू स्पेंड मोर टाइम अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट यू हैव टू बी पेशेंट, राइट? तो काफ़ी लोग क्या करते हैं, जैसे कि अगर मैंने एक्चुअली बहुत कम ऐसा लिया है कि कोई मुझे सेल्स कॉल पे, मैं किसी की क्लाइंट हूँ बेसिकली. यूजुअली आई कंडक्ट द सेल्स कॉल, और अगर मैं हायर कर रही हूँ तो मैं इंटरव्यूज़ लेती हूँ. आई डोंट गेट ऑन अ सेल्स कॉल विद समवन, आई एम इंटरव्यूइंग देम बिकॉज आई एम हायरिंग फॉर एन एजेंसी. लेकिन जितने एक दो बार जब मेरा एक्सपीरियंस रहा है, तो यूजुअली सेल्स क्या हो रही है, लाइक लोग कह रहे हैं कि ओके हाय श्रेया, तो मैं ये सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता हूँ, मेरा इतना प्राइस है, हम कब स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं. बेसिकली दैट इज़ द आइडिया. इसमें उन्होंने ये नहीं पूछा कि मेरी प्रॉब्लम क्या है, कि क्या मुझे ज़रूरत है ऐसी सर्विस की, कि अभी जब मेरे पास वो सर्विस नहीं है तब मेरी लाइफ में क्या इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है, क्या मुझे एब्सोल्युटली नीड है, कितना, मतलब अर्जेंसी कितनी है उसमें. तो ये सारी चीज़ें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है पूछना. But yeah, so whenever you're thinking of sales, right, you want to make sure that you're not just pitching blindly because you're on a sales call. The first aspect is what we call discovery. So you're discovering whether this person needs you. And discovery should involve basically the process of questioning, like an interrogation, ultimately. And it should be creating FOMO. But not that, oh, you're losing out on this offer, we have 50% off. No, it's that you're losing out on something that you know could improve your life, but because you're waiting for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, you thought of this long time back, but you didn't take action, so you're stuck in the same place.
Got it.
So can you bring that out, which is usually by asking the right questions. And I like to say that sales is basically just sharing information and asking the right questions and triggering your prospects' thoughts, and they kind of sell to themselves.
Got it.
That's how it would work.
Wow. So we are starting with the sales mastery, right? So I'll tell you, I have been doing sales myself from almost 6 years now. So consultative sales. So there are 2 types of sales, as you said, push and pull, right? So once you push is basically your outbound sales, and inside sales, you say, right? And pull is basically where you create your own personal brand. Now the things are changing, but you get the customers talk about you, right? So that's basically in product management, something we say it as NPS score, okay, Net Promoter Score. So if I'm meeting Shreya today, I know that she's doing great. What are the chances that there is another person who is who wants to take the same service, and I go and refer him कि Shreya से कर. Right? That's basically an NPS score which we calculate for each and every product. Okay. So I go in a reverse engineering, right? So when you said that you need to ask the right question when you start your consultancy. Sales is all about consultancy, I would say. And if you want to, sell your product in today's world, I have been telling this in my podcast before, but there are three processes. First is probing. First is profiling. Second is probing, and third is your negotiation, right? Or you can say the conclusion, right? Or conversion. So profiling is where you ask a lot of questions. What do you do? How you do? What about your background, right? And talking about what exactly your requirement is, right? So you should not go directly say, hey, I am selling LinkedIn. What do you want in LinkedIn?
Yeah.
That's very wrong. First understand what do you do, what is the background, what is the problem of the particular person. So that's basically profiling. And then probing comes to the business talks. And then comes to the conversion, where we talk about the negotiation, we talk about the value add. And I remember one of my story in my previous organization where the product was around 10 lakh, 12 lakh rupees. And the person was not able to take the decision. Today he said कि 6 महीने बात कर लूँगा. करना है, but 6 महीने बात करूँगा. And the pitch which was given to him was, hey, you know what? If you delay that decision for that 6 months, you're not actually delaying the decision for 6 months. You're delaying it for a year, because it was about a course. It was about data science during COVID, right? So if you would have done in COVID data science program, you would have taken a career transition by now, and you would have had a higher package, right? But if you take this decision after 6 months, there are many people who are entering into the same segment. So it's about right timing also. So if you're able to explain the particular customer that you're at the right time, you have the right product, you are with the right organization, and with the right person you're talking to, and you're going to get the right service, definitely you're going to make a sale. Right. So, great. So this is the process of the sale. So now I want to understand from the freelancing point of view. Sales ki process दिखती कैसे? Like in freelancing, sales, because I know for a B2B product, 6 महीना लगता है in sales cycle, usually B2B product.
Okay.
In D2C, it is like impulsive buying. You just see and you buy, right? And in, let's say, service model, it goes around 2 to 3 months. I want to know from freelancing point of view, कितना time लगता है to close a customer?
Usually, I would say 1 week. If you're a freelancer.
1 week?
Yeah, 1 week.
Oh, that's a shocker.
Freelancers, you're working by yourself. You have, you usually have one sales call. You're not usually charging a lot, especially if you're a beginner. You're charging anywhere between, let's say, 200 to 500 USD a month. These are very quick decisions. Usually, nobody spends too much time making these decisions. And if they do, I don't think they will ever buy from you, because these are, in the larger scheme of things, not big amounts, right?
Okay.
For a service. Early on, for example, there were very few times that I had to take a second call. Usually it was just one call, and then they would confirm with me over a message, and that's pretty much it. And this was even when I was charging up to $1,000 or $1,200 per month, right? It's fast. And if it's taking too long, one of the things could be, of course, it's a cold call kind of thing, right? This person has no idea who you are, then your sales process gets longer. But if you have a personal brand, if it's an inbound lead, if your content is good and you've been sharing your testimonials, your work, your basically your expertise, your experience, if your content is reflecting that, then the close is much easier. So there's a lot of factors that impact how long your sales cycle is.
Okay.
We've had people who have who had painful, experience making a decision for something that is $2,000. We've had some people who've said yes, instantly to something that's $20,000. So it also depends on what they have seen, their experience, and how ready are they for it, right?
Okay.
So you have to kind of get on calls and see how long is your sales cycle. And I would say your sales cycle is right from when you get that inquiry, that person's I want to book a call. Always book a call as soon as possible. If that means taking a call on a weekend, consider it, because you don't want to give that gap and you don't want them to change the mind. So the speed is very important. If you get a text in the morning, can you book a call for the evening?
Amazing.
Do that. So right from when someone messages you, you book a call, and then you might have a follow-up call, or you send a proposal via email, and then you have a follow-up call. So that should be instant. You have a call, you send a proposal within 24 hours. You're not waiting. You're not giving that time lag for them to change their mind about anything.
Got it.
And then the final decision, yes or no. Whether it's a yes, it's a closed sales cycle. If it's a no, it's a closed sales cycle, because now you're not following up with anyone. A no is what you want. If that person is not going to say yes, you want them to say a no. Because if they say, maybe I will think about it, I will get back on it, you're stuck. You don't know. Like you'll keep following up with them. You'll get ghosted. You will lose your confidence, your morale. So if someone says, I will get back to you in 6 months, it's best to say, okay, I will consider this a no for now. And how about I follow, like, let's say today is Feb. So like I will follow, how about I reach out to you in end of August and can we talk then? And they're like, yeah, sure. And you just add it to your own calendar to follow up. But that whole maybe thing, I think, is the most trickiest part. But otherwise, this is your sales cycle. So track it for 10 people. How long is it taking on average? And what can you do to reduce the sales cycle space, right? If you're taking 3 days to just book a call, that's unnecessary in most cases, unless you're traveling, unwell, etc. Of course. If you're taking like more than 24 hours to send a proposal, which should be a template, you just make a few changes and you send it. That's a problem. If you're taking too long to respond to their questions, their inquiries, that's a problem. So there are a lot of things you can do from your side to reduce that sales cycle. So track it. I think tracking is the best way to know what you need to fix.
Great. I mean, I'll tell you, I think we share a similar personality, and excellence and speed are the two qualities which I value a lot. And I have told my team also that if you're not reacting, like when it comes to sales, right, you have to react, right? You need to adapt also, and you have to react also. And you have to be very sensible when you reply back. But you need to reply back, like let's say you DM'd me, you reply back in like next 30 minutes. So speed is something which is very important. But I'll tell you one interesting story. So you know for a fact that, I was working for one of the unicorn in the country. At that time when we, as a sales team, right, when we used to have a meeting, the first thing we used to ask is, what are the numbers, right? And that culture cultivated in such a way that, your speed increases because you need to make sure that you deliver numbers. But eventually, when there is too much of pressure, right, the sales break. So that is where, your consultative sales comes in. And there are difference between the top sales people and the people who are at the bottom. And the biggest thing is the metrics which you told, that they evaluate themselves, they work on themselves, they see the numbers, and they see why it is breaking. In fact, I would say that when you do sales, right, record your own call, sales call, and watch it. Where you were right, where you were wrong, and how could you avoid long calls and make it short and get the output. Because I've seen specifically with many clients that people ask you a lot of questions. Amazing. Okay, you start answering. But eventually they're just asking you questions and they never come back to you. And you can tell me why.
Free strategy call.
Exactly.
Usually,
You know it very well.
Yeah.
So it's like a free strategy call which they want, right?
Yeah.
In fact, just offer them a free strategy call in advance, right? And tell them that, hey, when you want to execute this, we're going to charge you this much. This will involve this. So eventually the way you do your sales pitch matters a lot. And I want to know from you, like, what would be your top 3 sales pitch? Let's say like that. And if you want to do a demo, right? Sell me this pen. So how would you, like, let's say I am your client. I want to come to you. Like, can we do a demo right away? Can we do a sales call right now? If you don't mind. Like,
can we do a sales call right now?
Yeah, let's say like a couple of minutes. Like, how do you start? Because this will be super value add to all the people. How do you start, right?
Okay.
So tell me your whole process, right? So how did you find me first? How did I find you? It can be reverse, as you said. And then how do you bring people on call? What are the ways you bring people on call? And how do you filter your lead in advance?
Right.
Because I'm very sure there would be a filtration process.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? And then how do you bring them on a call? What do you talk? How do you talk? And how do you close it? And how much time it takes?
Right. So we're going to make some assumptions here, basically.
Okay.
So the first thing is, you're looking for LinkedIn services.
Okay.
Let's say LinkedIn personal branding. You just want to start with your regular content creation. I'm making an assumption, okay? You've reached out to me on LinkedIn. You've seen my content, so you're a warm lead. You know kind of what I do. You like my content. You like my writing style. You've seen that I have really good engagement. You're kind of sold on that.
Okay.
So that's the second thing. And the third assumption I'm making is that this is a Zoom call. So it's online. We're not meeting in person. We've never spoken before.
Okay.
And this is the first time we are speaking. So once you've reached out to me, you've messaged me saying, "Hi Shreya, I'm looking for like LinkedIn branding services. I liked your content. I want to speak on a call." The first thing I will do is I'll go through your profile. And if I think that yes, you're someone we can work with, I will send you this call booking form. It's a Calendly form. It's a routing form, which means there are very specific questions about what you're looking for. If you're looking for LinkedIn ads, there's no option for that in the form, which means if you're looking for LinkedIn ads, you can't fill the form. That's it. And you might message me back saying, "Shreya, I was looking for LinkedIn ads, but it's not in the form." So I understood what that means, right? Do you do ads? No. So that's your leads qualified, basically. The second thing is that once you fill the form, based on your responses, especially based on what you do, based on your goals and your budget, you're automatically routed to specific things. If your budget is, let's say, a couple of $100, you're routed to booking a strategy call with me. If your budget is very low, less than 100 because you were expecting something entirely different, then you're led to my ebooks, which you could get for like $50 and do it yourself. If you have the kind of budget that we work with, then you're on a call with me. Then you're on a sales call and you get the option to book a slot in my calendar, fill in some more information, and that's it. Now you're on the call. The first thing is smiling, saying hi. Of course, take the person's name.
Let's do it. So yeah. Hi, I want a call. So I hope I'm in your budget right now. But you have filtered out whatever your process is. We are on a Zoom call now.
Yeah.
Okay. So hey Shreya, hi. How are you?
I'm good, Yash. How are you?
I am great. So Shreya, I just checked your profile and I think that you're doing very well. I want to exactly know I want to grow myself on LinkedIn, right? Eventually, there are ways we can do by paid advertisement, but I'm interested in organic way. So I want to understand so before I go ahead, I just want to give you a brief that we sell education courses in top institutes in India. So how would you help me out there?
Okay, so thanks for sharing that, Yash. So I've been through your profile. I've seen what you do. I've also been through your website. But I have some very specific questions to ask you. And once you share that information with me, then I can let you know if I think that we are someone who can help you out with this.
Okay.
So do you mind if I start with the questions?
Sure.
Okay. The first question I have for you is that why did you decide to book this call with me today?
So I saw your profile. I believe that you have been helping many other founders and growing and scaling their businesses via LinkedIn, and you're perfect. You're someone who can acquire leads for me. So I believe that is something which I'm expecting from you. So that's why I booked the call.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier on that you were looking for personal branding. And now you're mentioning also lead generation. So is that something what's your first focus? Is that more on content creation and raising awareness? Because I've seen your profile.
Right.
And of course, the first main gap I saw is inconsistent posting. So I'm assuming that this is your starting stage. So what is your goal, let's say, with this activity, with working with us? Is it lead generation right from the get-go? Or are you starting ahead with personal branding right now?
So you suggest me, because see, at the end it's all about money. It's all about business, right? So what would be the ideal way to make sure that I don't put so much of efforts and resources to acquire leads? So you suggest me how does it work?
Okay, so just to refer to your numbers, how many leads are you generating right now from LinkedIn?
Monthly 5-6.
And are they qualified leads?
I don't know. I mean, they are not qualified as such, but definitely when they come on a call, I make sure they are qualified.
So how many conversions do you have every month from LinkedIn?
Maybe a couple of, 2 out of 5.
And how much revenue is LinkedIn generating for you right now?
50K a month.
50,000 USD?
50,000 INR.
And are you running any ads, or how are the leads finding you? Are you doing cold outreach?
So what we are doing is, obviously we're writing content, right? So we were trying to write content on our platform from the company's page and from our page both. Like my personal brand page. Yeah, that's the only way. We are just writing content for now. We are not DMing anybody right now. We are not, sending them a cold email or a cold DM also. So yeah, the only way we are doing is that we're just putting content out. They see my content, they like my content, they DM me, and then basically, we talk.
So right now, I also want to ask you, what are your other lead sources? So I have context as to how much percentage of your revenue right now is coming through LinkedIn.
3-5%, 3-5%.
Okay, so smaller in the larger scheme of things. Okay. So let's say we start working together and I can help you out mainly with, of course, personal branding with the intent for lead generation. I will also, of course, get back to what your target audience is.
Okay.
But I would like to know that in the next 6 months of working together, what would success of our association look like for you?
We want to obviously scale it up to 10x on LinkedIn.
So you do understand that this would be a long-term process and a long-term commitment with LinkedIn?
Yeah, I know for a fact because I know about LinkedIn a bit, but eventually still, like I'll tell you the case study because we have been doing it from last 8 months, but still we are still at 25, right? So I don't know like why, we have not been able to convert it. Is there something which we are not doing right? So that is why something which I'm looking at.
Okay. So I would now like to share how we can help you out because I do have some context right now. So do you mind if I share the process with you?
Yep.
Okay. So the first thing I do want to mention is that you said you're looking for a way to build your brand without investing too much time. You want the easy mode, and that's exactly what we focus on doing. So how we work is we have a strategy call once a month, roughly 45 minutes, which you and my team will join. On this call, we will ask you specific questions, create the strategy for the month, and be prepared with everything that has to go out that month, right?
Okay.
Aligned with your goals.
Okay.
The first 3 months overall are meant for your personal branding and brand building, authority building, for awareness. And of that, the first month is mainly experimentation. If you had content on LinkedIn, we would have data to look back at. But since we don't have that, hence this 3 month of basically what we call amplification. We want to amplify your profile, right? And then we can go more into some sort of soft selling towards the end of the posts that we are doing, right? And bring in other means as well of lead generation. So your time investment overall is that one strategy call plus the 15-20 minutes you might spend every week reviewing and approving the content. And that's pretty much it.
Right. So what is the surety you're giving me that you're going to give me leads?
So first of all, with the number of leads that you have right now, there is no guarantee that we can give you as to, we will 10x your leads, because that's not how organic personal branding works, right? First, again, like I will go back to the first 3 months. The first 3 months, we have to gauge all the numbers. Once we fix the primary thing of consistent posting and the primary thing of having a good strategy in place, what are the numbers we are generating? And then by the end of the 3 months, we have a clear roadmap of what we have to do more of, freebies to use, what kind of lead magnet. And of course, overall, the sales is still in your hands. So the conversion is not something that we are involved in. How strong your backend is, how strong your sales systems are, how many products you have ready to go and to serve, that will also be important.
Perfect. So, I mean, I want to know like how do you charge for this particular service and what exactly includes in the service and what does not includes in the service?
So first I'll outline what exactly we will do for you. First of all, your time investment towards this, it won't be more than 2 hours per month on a recurring basis. And most of our clients usually don't even require any calls after the first strategy call. We just do a check-in if and as required, but the time investment overall is really low. And the thing we will do for you is essentially automate your entire LinkedIn brand building, right? We will write the post for you with, of course, the strategic ideation, all of that done for you. We will also have access to your account. So we publish the content for you, and then we will manage your profile. So anyone who's commenting, we will engage with them. We are also focused on getting, of course, your inputs and your insights. So who are, let's say, the top 10 to 20 people that you would really like to work with this year? Basically, whose radar do you want to be on? We will request you for that list, and we will make sure that we are engaging with them regularly so that it boosts your, rapport with them, essentially. So your content ideation, creation, profile management, publishing the content, and your engagement front, we handle all of that. And I'm going to give a mock price here. And we charge $1,000 per month for this. And if you would like, of course, we would expect a minimum 3-month commitment as a brand building activity. If you commit for 3 months, paid upfront, then you also get a 10% discount. So you would pay $2,700 USD for 3 months.
Okay, let me think over and come back to you. But let's talk about the output of it, right? So as you rightly mentioned, it's a long-term process, and you have rightly given me the expectation that maybe the 3% of my total revenue is coming from LinkedIn today. So can we be more surer towards the point that we can go towards 10% of the whole revenue, or it is going to be still the 3% after working with you?
So when you're talking in percentages, it means your revenue could also be going up from somewhere else. And that's why 3% means it's still an increase in the number, right? Of course. The second thing I will say is your brand building is so powerful in all the other aspects. When you run ads, when you do cold outreach, if somebody looks you up, because of course, I know your services are premium, I know you charge really well, and somebody will look you up before they decide to commit to you. Or even in your cold emails, if you mention anything regarding your LinkedIn, then people will look you up. And when that happens, it's like shortening your sales process, and it's overcoming your objections in the content.
So Shreya, tell me one thing. You said that you're charging 3,000. I have seen that there are many AI tools which are really very convenient. And if I use the tool myself, I don't see that I'm going to pay 3,000 for this particular tools. So how are you going to add value more, and why should I not choose an option to go for AI?
I would love to know, which AI tools have you tried?
So let's say I am using ChatGPT for my LinkedIn content.
Okay.
I have used something like Midjourney for creating pictures. Runway is a very good tool.
Okay.
So Runway helps you to click the photo, make it in a video format.
Right.
So it's text to video, text to image, every possibility.
So specifically for LinkedIn, what have you used so far?
So specifically for LinkedIn, for writing content, I've just used majorly GPT.
Okay.
And I've used Bard. So Bard, because the accuracy is high with the data. But what we do is basically we go to Bard, we write we find the content which is more related to my TG, and then we put it in ChatGPT, organize it in a much better way, and then we basically post it on LinkedIn.
So when you say we, who are you referring to?
We as in me and my team.
How many people are involved in this?
Maybe 2.
Do you want them to be involved in this content, or would you rather have them of you somewhere else?
If they are free, why would I not use them in something which is more resourceful?
Okay. In that case, how much time are they spending on this?
Per post, it will be, couple of hours. So 2 hours
couple
per
of
post,
hours per post. And
if it is not AI driven, if it is AI driven, then 2 minutes.
AI driven 2 minutes for a post?
Yeah.
And is that ready to publish?
Yeah, I mean, if we publish, I don't know what's the output here, but
of course,
definitely ready to publish.
And how is that working out for you?
Not good.
Definitely. I mean, of course, the whole idea is you're on a call with me, so there's definitely something that's not working out with AI. Because AI might be a good way to get a draft, but you still have to give it your input, and you have to spend time doing that. You're managing 2 people right now who don't know how LinkedIn works, who don't know how content works, and you're so involved in the process compared to only 2 hours a month with us, which also goes down with time. Some of our clients right now, by the way, don't even require approvals. Like they say, we know what you do, so we've been working together for 2 months, just you can write and publish, and that's it. So they are completely out of the whole LinkedIn process. They can basically forget that they have a LinkedIn account that's growing for them, that's scaling, that's getting them leads in their DMs. And we just send them the screenshot and we connect them to their leads. So that's the level of non-involvement you can have.
Right.
And of course, I know you're a busy person. I know that for you, one hour saved is worth a lot of dollars. So I'm sure you can.
No, but I'll tell you, there's a tool known as Simplified. I don't know it's a tool, but it's an organization. So Simplified helps you to automate your process end to end, the way you are saying, right?
Okay.
It gives you the content creation ideas. It gives you, some research, and it helps you to post and publish your content too.
Okay.
It's all in one service. And it is obviously AI driven company, and it's well funded.
Okay.
So basically, I'm not saying that, we are totally dependent on AI, but I would, because if I'm going to pay you 300, or you just said $1,000 USD, right? why will I not pay like 10 USD and get a tool out of it? And we can have 10 tools and I can automate these processes.
Okay, then why haven't you tried it yet? Really?
I'm not an expert on LinkedIn algorithms.
Okay.
I don't know how LinkedIn works.
And you think that's important to know?
Maybe if I know, then I think I can automate it using AI tools.
Okay.
If I knew it, right? If I am reaching out to you today,
Yes.
I'm reaching out to you because you're a LinkedIn expert. You have cracked the LinkedIn and you have been helping many other people to grow on LinkedIn, right? So somewhere down the line, you know how LinkedIn works, right?
Yes.
If I know that, then definitely as a typical entrepreneur or a typical client, I can do it by myself.
Unfortunately, if you do think that, of course, whatever we are providing is completely doable by AI, I don't think we're the right fit at this stage. I'm not closing off the conversation, by the way. Please feel free to use the AI tools. If you think something's lacking, sure, you can revert and we can have another call. And let me know if while you're using AI, if you would just rather prefer a consultation call, we can book that and I can tell you how to make the most of AI, give
Got
you
it.
some LinkedIn tips. But unfortunately, the service is not the right fit for you at this time.
So let me come back to you and think about what we spoke right now. And yeah, I mean, if I'm interested, I'll reach out to you.
Sure, I'll just send you an email just summarizing so you have this for future reference. For now, I will consider this as a no. But of course, whenever you would like to reach out, just shoot us an email and we'll book a call. So thank you.
Perfect. So yeah, guys. So this is a proper sales, mastery course for freelancers, and this is a proper pitch which Shreya has helped you with. Out of the whole pitch, what I've learned from you is expectation settings, fitting the customer, not selling your services just because you want to onboard the customer. You need to understand what the requirement is. You also need to, elaborate like why are you special than anybody else. And eventually when the rebuttal comes, like when we talked about AI, right? You have a rhetorical question. Why haven't you, gone with that option by now?
Yeah.
So in this way, you can definitely, show that you're more confident on what you do and why you do and why, I as a customer should, go to Shreya and tell that, hey, Shreya, this is the 1,000 USD. Take my, LinkedIn, this is yours, give me the output. So thank you so much, Shreya, for this. But eventually I have one more question, very important question. So you talked about when a customer knows you or is following you, they are coming for a call, right? But there are so many freelancers here, they don't know how to approach a customer, or like if they're not getting the incoming leads, how should they start working so they get incoming leads, A, and B, like how can you, like, should you go for an outreach, right? Should you go to the people and say that, hey, I do this.
Yeah.
Do you want this? So what is your thought process about it?
Yeah, I don't think it's an either or thing, right? You can definitely do both. The only thing with outreach is volume is very important. And it's easier to post one piece of content than to go through even like 10 profiles a day. Make sure you're doing your due diligence, you're customizing, personalizing the cold outreach message and then sending it to them. You can do cold outreach via email, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, whichever platforms you prefer. I think you should combine it. And for most freelancers, even if you do like 10 to 15 per day, that's 300 a month. That's more than enough for you to book a good number of calls. Make sure your pitch is personalized. Make sure that whenever you're pitching someone, you're making the process as easy as possible for them to respond. So I would say always end your pitch with a question like, are you available for a call this Tuesday? And be very specific. Or can we have a quick chat this Monday? Or do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions? Or would you mind telling me how much revenue you're making right now? Something subtle, I think. Don't go overboard. But just make it very easy for them to respond. Some people pitched me saying, I've created a free sample for you, Shreya. So can you, would you like to check that out?
I mean, go deep in this. This is a very important point. I mean, if you can go more deep in this, like let's say somebody who's starting freelancing, somebody who's starting their work, not freelancing as such, but if you're looking for a job also, because I've been telling to many of my students also and learners also that why when you start, why it is important to actually not give free samples, but give them the value add in advance so they are more convinced
Yeah.
And they definitely subscribe to your service.
Right.
So go deep. Like, tell me about some personal story if you can talk about. Like, how did you close your first client?
I mean, my first client was inbound. Most of my clients have always been inbound. It's just worked out that way. And my first client basically told me what they wanted, how much they would pay me very clearly, just one LinkedIn message. And I was like, okay. And so I said, yes, I wrote the article, submitted it. They paid me via PayPal. And that's pretty much it. But when I think of the hires I've done, this was very early on. One of the first writers I hired on like a part-time project basis was someone who had done a cold DM. It wasn't the best, but it was one of the few people who had a decent message, and the timing was just right. And I was like, I'm looking for someone, so why don't we talk, right? And my video editor, who's been working with me, I think for 2 years, and he was also because of a cold DM, and he was very persistent. He was like, Shreya, I've created something for you. And once I said, yes, send it over, he sent it over to me, and he was very persistent with his follow-ups. So I get a lot of messages, obviously, because I have a good following online. So people message me all the time. Some people say, Shreya, I'm looking for a job. I can't find anything. Like as a freelancer, nobody's hiring me. Can you hire me? That's not a way to pitch. That's like it's not a way that's going to convince someone, because I'm going to think, why is nobody hiring you? And if nobody's hiring you, why should I? You know, I'm not a recruitment like training agency.
Right.
My job is not to train you how to do your job better. I'm also not servicing you in a way that, yes, I want to help people with financial independence. It's not that. You have to add value, right? Of course. And the best thing you can do with the cold outreach, whenever you're saying you've created a sample, or you can also do a Loom video, by the way, breaking down something that they're doing good, but something that they can do better, for example. So it's like a consultation strategy kind of video you're sending. 5 minutes, not more than that. You can say that you've created this and not actually created yet. And you just ask them, I've put this together for you. Can I send it over? Once they respond and say yes, then put those 30 minutes in, create that sample, then send it out. So you're not just creating endless samples for people who won't respond, right? You're being very strategic, and you're saying that I've created something, but you're creating something after you have an okay from them.
Okay.
And the final thing I would add to this whole thing is anything you create like this can go into your mock portfolio. So you can say, like, even if you're not pitching to that person, you can use that person's work.
Right.
Like if someone's watching a podcast like ours and they're a video editor, they can extract YouTube shots from this and post it, or use it as their mock portfolio. They can create LinkedIn posts, they can create tweets, they can create whatever like stuff that they want to from this podcast. There's so many options. They can do that, and they can add it to their mock portfolio, tag you and me, and that's it. So that's how you can build stuff.
So anybody who's looking for job opportunities, you're free and welcome, because I'm definitely hiring some video editors in my organization. So I mean, thank you, Shreya, for this.
I have a lot of references now. I will send those to you.
Perfect. Great. So give me a step-by-step process, and how do you have that patience and perseverance to continue something which you have vision and you have aim for?
Okay, so like how to start as a freelancer, would that be?
How to start, yeah. Let's say how to start into 2024, not in 2020 or 2018.
Yeah.
In 2024, how do you start?
I think in 2024, if I had to start it all over again, I would start from an agency perspective. Because right now, if you see people are not doing like, okay, they're only creating on LinkedIn, only on Instagram, only this, only that. They're not doing that. Everyone's on all platforms at the same time. Like everyone's just launching on all platforms. So when you look at it from that perspective, they would rather just work with one agency, one team, have that whole collaborative effort going on. This would be a very high deliverable, like scope of work kind of association. This would also be a high paying client essentially. And this would be a long-term commitment usually, because this is like someone who's basically building an in-house team, you could say, but without the pain of having to hire and manage the whole team themselves. You would be doing that for them. So I would totally go in for that option. Of course, it means a lot more people that you hire.
Right.
A lot more stress because multiple platforms, algorithms change, high volume of work, lots of things to manage. People on both fronts, you will have people, your clients, you will also have your team to manage. So it's on both ends essentially. And if you're looking at like creators right now, they are also into brand collaborations, so even influencer marketing. So I'm saying that overall, especially when we consider this service space of freelancing, where you are especially driven by social media marketing, I see the potential in starting an agency right off the bat. You don't need an office. You don't even need to hire people full time. You can get a client first, then start hiring
looking.
people.
Yeah.
You can already look for someone. You can already have a short list. You can partner up with your friend or whatever. Not really a huge fan of that. I think it doesn't always work out, but you can be a bit smart about it. Like, who can you partner up with and have this vision? I think that would be a great way to build something meaningful and something long term. And it's not that hard nowadays.
Right.
If you look at, like, starting is not hard. Of course, sustaining it is always challenging. Starting is not hard. Anyone can start. And if you work on those initial things we talked about, so not just having the right skill. And this is the thing, right? You don't even have to know everything that you're providing the service in. You can have people who know all these things, and you are a good leader. You're a good communicator. You're someone who has good brand presence. You can be someone who's attracting the leads, managing the sales, managing the fulfillment, like overview. But you have the best talent in like the country or the world who's coming together and supporting you. That would be my approach for like 2024.
Wow.
And like I said, this is something that has a long-term vision. It's not like just a one-off thing. It's not I'm trying something, because when you're working with someone, you're literally responsible for their salaries. You have responsibility towards a huge aspect towards your client, because so many platforms, and you have a lot of learning curve, huge network. And if the younger you are, the more energy you have. So you'll actually be able to do all this.
Perfect. Amazing. So I have a question relating to that. So when you say that, you can be the leader and you can hire a team around you, right? Who are a bunch of experts, right? How do you make sure that they're working with you? Because you might have the brand presence for sure, but you need a great team for the execution. How do you make sure that they're working with you, and what is the deal with them? Like, ideally, what is the table deal with them? Like, what do you offer to them? Because how do you earn and how do you offer to them? So if you can just give me that revenue model.
So if you're operating as an agency, usually it's salary. That makes the most sense. That's the only scalable way. If you're giving a cut from every client, how many people are you giving it to? Right. Not a way to build a business. You can have commissions, especially if you have someone for sales. They can get, like, the average commission is anywhere between 10 to 20% of the first invoice or of the deal size, basically. So those are a couple of ways, but definitely I think salaries are important, and you can have certain KPIs that you set, like the key performance indicators. If they hit these goals, they get this much percentage of bonuses. So the bonus factor, I don't think anyone needs to worry about that right now. It's a bit of an advanced thing. When you have really good results, when you're actually scaling fast, then I would say go into that. When you're hiring, if you want to run an agency, the first question you should literally be asking anyone you're hiring is, do you want to be an entrepreneur? If they say yes, they are not someone you hire. They're not. Because then they have bigger goals, bigger visions that will not align with working with you for the long term. And this is something I've learned, because I've seen, like, how do you keep someone working with you when they have this whole map, like, in their head? They know they want to do something different of their own. And it's not about creating competition. It's about the simple thing that your business will start falling apart because you weren't selective about this early on. So you should have people who love what they do, yes, in some way, who are punctual, who are committed, who align in many ways for all these things. But if you want to build a long-term agency, don't hire entrepreneurs. Perfect. They are not employees.
Wow, that's a great input. I would say that entrepreneurial mindset is definitely needed. Just to add on to that, you don't hire entrepreneurs, but you should hire entrepreneurial mindset people who has the ownership. Like, if this gets affected, the whole business gets affected. If I don't work on time, the whole business gets affected. Because entrepreneurs understand what is the importance of time and money. Whereas I would not contradict that, but in job, right? People usually want Monday to Friday, 6 hours job, बस उतना ही काम करना है जितना दिया है. They will not go one step ahead and make sure that company grows, right? Definitely not. It's not for some people. It's for everyone. Sorry, it's not for everyone. It's for some people. But I have seen like that. Like once you have that clarity of mindset, right? That I want to be an entrepreneur and you don't want to be an entrepreneur. But if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, hire somebody who has that entrepreneurial mindset. That is something which I would definitely advise. Because in my team also, I see 10 entrepreneurs definitely within the company. Not necessarily that they have to go to other companies and they start their own visions. You can be helpful to grow their own companies, right? So that is a different perspective which I have. It's not always that podcasters should agree to what the other person is saying. So let's make it more interesting, and I want to ask you a very rapid fire questions. You need to answer in one word, right? And this will definitely connect to me, to the audience, and be as candid as you can, right? So let's start.
Sure.
Perfect. One thing which makes you happy.
Family.
Okay. Freelancing.
Freedom.
Copywriting.
Messy.
Your dad.
Biggest support system. That's 3 words.
Amazing. Toxic client.
Learning curve.
Dubai or Mumbai?
Haha. That's my answer. Literally. Haha.
Okay. That's a very diplomatic answer. Great. High ticket client.
Fake concept.
Wow. Content creators.
Fame driven.
LinkedIn.
My favorite.
Your audience.
Thing I'm most grateful for.
Next 2-year goal.
100% better.
Tea or coffee?
Typical chai.
LinkedIn or Instagram?
Both for different reasons.
Okay. I will never get an answer for that. Great. Podcast or writing?
Now podcasts.
Religious or spiritual?
Neither.
Neither. Okay. And destiny or luck?
Luck.
Foodie or not foodie?
Foodie for sure.
Travel or not travel?
Travel.
Inbound or outbound?
Both.
Emails or cold calling?
Emails.
WhatsApp or cold calling?
WhatsApp.
International clients or Indian clients?
Whoever we would love to work with.
Startup or just freelancing?
I think neither. More like a long-term vision and building something.
It's like business.
Business, yeah.
Okay, great business. Your employees, tell me one word about them.
What do you call it when something pushes something ahead? Propellers? That's what they are. Propellers, yeah.
Your perseverance and your patience.
Learned and acquired.
Perfect. And one thing which makes you you are sad about, or something which is your personal story, maybe you can share a story on that note. Your difficult times.
Toxic clients mostly.
Toxic clients. It's just the toxic clients.
Like from work perspective, yeah. Toxic clients.
Okay. So personal life or professional life, you can talk about that also. Like how do you manage personal and professional life?
I think not seeing it as 2 different things. And I think in my personal life, I can only keep the people who understand what I do professionally, which means being on social media, being a certain way, saying no to a lot of things, being closed off, being like unavailable so many times, being very direct, because I think because of my work, I've learned how to be very straightforward. No, like being sweet and, all that. I think that's changed a lot out of my personality just because an entrepreneur cannot function that way.
Okay.
So I think in my personal life, people have to just be more understanding and more accommodating of me. And I do my best to be accommodating of them as well.
Upwork or Fiverr?
None of them. LinkedIn. Just find your own clients. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. That's a great thing. So LinkedIn Premium or like just LinkedIn? Like you should
whatever you can afford.
So you should buy LinkedIn?
If you can, yes.
Yes.
Yes, like the company?
No. I would love to acquire LinkedIn, but I'm talking about LinkedIn Premium.
Yeah, if you can, like it's not a limiting factor. LinkedIn Premium is quite expensive.
Okay.
It's like almost $100 a month. And especially in India, I know it can get expensive. So it's not a reason why you would succeed or fail, basically. So don't limit yourself based on that.
Great. Perfect. Great. So thank you so much, guys. I hope it was a value add, and I'm very sure while, she was talking about her journey and how did she acquired her first client till how she's like obviously now owning an agency. I don't want to quote the number like $1 million agency or something like that, but just telling you, like I've met so many people on my podcast. She has been one of the most honest person while she was sharing her experience, and it's been great that we have seen such a young personality, killing it at what she does. And I'm very sure whatever small tips you can get it from this podcast, you will write the notes and you will definitely send it to us, so we can actually we will love to connect to you, and we will love to explore opportunities and work with you maybe. Yeah, so see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.